Hey guys, Eric at SoCal Cigars. Just wanted to do a little follow-up on my humidor situation, let you guys know where I'm at. The one thing I wanted to say was I was really stoked on how many people, how many subscribers chimed in and gave me their opinions and some really good advice, and were really willing to jump in and help and try to figure out what's going on, and share experiences they've had to see if can help me out getting my situation squared away. So totally dig that. That's one thing I really like about the cigar community. It's like other communities I belong to, like riding my bike. You won't find a better group of people that all you got to do is say, hey, my bike's not running right, and 10 people are like, hey, cruise over, we'll get some drinks, we'll get some cigars, we'll fix your bike. It's the same thing with the cigar community. Anytime I've ever had anyone talk to me, or I've talked to anyone else about issues I'm having with humidification or different cigars, or I forgot my cigars, everyone's just willing to step up immediately and here's my opinion, and here's what I experienced, and here, have a cigar, and here, try one of these, and I thought of you the other day, I thought you might like this cigar, here's one that, really lucky to be in a community like this, especially, not to go off topic too much, but especially given the situation we're in today, the climate we're in today. It's I'll tell you, between cigars, riding bikes, things like that, I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter race, color, religion, political affiliation. It doesn't seem to make a difference. If you ride a bike, you ride a bike. It doesn't matter if it's a Harley, if it's a Japanese metric bike. It doesn't matter if it's a trike. It doesn't matter what it is. It seems to be, if you're into bikes, that's cool, good enough. Same thing with cigars, I've noticed. It doesn't matter any background. It doesn't seem to make a difference. It's just, if you dig cigars, you dig cigars, and you are enthusiastic about it, and you want to talk about it, and you want to share it, and just have a good time together. It's a cool thing to be part of the community. Obviously, it's way beyond just bikes and cigars, but at least for my life, I noticed that the few things that I'm really passionate about, it's just awesome people, and all these things that seem to matter so much right now, in those groups, it doesn't seem to really matter. It just seems to matter about your character. You're either a good person or you're not. You're either a jerk or you're not. That seems to just be it. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because it's just I've seen with the responses I've gotten to the dilemmas I've had with my humidor, and all the subscribers that have chimed in and given me comments and suggestions, and actually gone and done research. I mean, this is beyond just like, hey, maybe try this, or maybe this will work. These are people that have said, hey, okay, I looked into it, I did all this research, and here's what I found out. I'm like, how cool is that? To think that here I am, ultimately just a stranger, just a YouTube video you watch now and then if it shows up. But yeah, we're willing to take your time to go help me out. So again, bikes, cigars, a lot of other things, I'm sure. It's cool to be part of that kind of a community. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there and thank you for jumping in and being cool that way. Anyway, so I did get a lot of things said that I wanted to address. Some just ideas for you to know maybe, and other comments that were made that maybe I could make some clarifications on. Like actually, one subscriber had commented that you haven't really talked much about maybe getting another humidor rather than going through all the trouble I'm going through with this one. So I did want to touch on that yeah, in my comments to people, I mentioned that a lot, that I've been thinking a lot about getting a second humidor, actually just a matching one, just like I have now. And then I would split across all my non-infused and my infused and just kind of categorize them that way. But then I would be able to manage a smaller number in each humidor. So getting an additional humidor is on the table for sure. So thanks for throwing that out there and clarifying that I hadn't seemed to really talk much about that. Another thing is, and I'm going to go upstairs in a minute and I'll take you with me. And I'm going to go through my humidor real quick and just show you a few things I'm going to talk about right now. One thing that was mentioned a lot was getting the larger Cigar Oasis, the Plus, instead of the XL. So I wanted to throw that out there. That seems to be a common suggestion. And again, I told you why I did what I did. But still, that seems to be what some other people have done, and it's been helpful. So I just wanted you to know that. Another thing was a lot of people commented about Bovita, or Bovita is actually what it's called. Those packs seem to work really well. I use them for shipping. I use them when I need them, like for going places. Like if I'm going to throw together like a pack to go on a trip or whatever, I always throw the Boveda packs in there. But I never really, for some reason, toyed with actually using those as my humidification method. And a lot of people that have winadors have said that that's been successful for them, and that they just need a crap ton of them. You need to have a lot of them. So I just want to throw that out there, that Boveda, that could be a possible solution for you. Another subscriber mentioned something that I thought was kind of like not seeing the forest through the trees thing, was to really factor in when you're talking about how many cigars are in your humidor. Those become part of the humidification process or environment. So it's not so much just that there's plastic or wood or how many beads you've got or whatever you're doing to humidify. Got to really keep in mind that the number of cigars, those are actively pulling in and putting out the humidity that's in there as well. So you got to really just sort of be cognizant of the idea that the cigars you have in your humidor are playing a role in your humidification process. And they're a big role because they're probably the predominant piece that's absorbing the humidity you're putting out in your humidor, way beyond the cedar that's lining your humidor. So just keep in mind how big a role those cigars play. And another thing that I've really come to realize is when it says it's a 400 count humidor or 50 count or whatever, 100 count, whatever you have, just keep in mind that's like, yeah, technically it can hold that many physically. But just keeping in mind all these factors, especially how much they need humidity and how hard it is to get that environment up sometimes, just keep in mind that you never want to max it out. So for me, I'm kind of learning that maybe 325 would be the max I would ever put in a 400 count. So I've got mine down to that now. And it has stabilized a little bit, just so you guys are aware. It's about 71 at the bottom, and towards the top it's about 60. So it's better than it was. So clearly helping the airflow has helped by removing those cigars from the back shelf, and reducing the number of cigars is obviously, that's helped as well. So that's been successful. A lot of people did bring up about these winadors. Oftentimes in the back there's a little hole for drainage. A lot of people are mentioning to plug that hole up. Okay, so that's one thing I'm going to do. Another thing, and I found this from a cigar guy that I know that's actually like, he manages humidors for a living. So he actually is like almost like a humidor climatologist. I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call this guy, but this is literally what he does. Is he maintains commercial humidors, and what his big push is air circulation. So that's one thing I'm going to show you in the back of my humidor when we go upstairs, is that there is a fan that's running all the time, but you literally can put your hand right against it and you barely feel it. So I really feel like there's not enough air circulation with the unit on its own. And then with the Cigar Oasis, you can barely feel that pushing out air either. So what I'm going to do is I think it's really important to add a secondary fan in there that really moves that humidity around, because I think what's happening is because of the weights of particles of moisture, things like that, you get more humidity towards the bottom than you do the top. So I think you really need a fan kind of pointing up that's really forcing this to circulate through your humidor, and I think that's going to make a huge difference. So that's again one of the things that I still need to do. Another suggestion that someone had was to take my Cigar Oasis, instead of having it towards the front, which is blowing up towards the front glass, is to have it more towards the back, so it's blowing up through the empty shelves that I've made the room for. And so that's a good suggestion as well. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to do on this, was really just throw out there a lot of the suggestions and comments I've been getting from the subscribers that have taken the time to comment, and so that you guys can maybe look at your situation, see what might work for you and what you should really be doing to get your situation squared away like I'm trying to do. Okay, here we are upstairs. Like I said I was going to do, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm going to do in this humidor. The changes that I'm going to make that I haven't yet made. So, and I've got a kind of a flashlight going because it's hard to see. Anyway, this Cigar Oasis, so one of the things I've mentioned is that this is the Excel model. Some people have said to use the Plus. But again, I've gone over why I chose this one. Looking back, I may have gotten the Plus looking back. But what I'm going to do is, right now I've got it to the front so it blows up the front glass, but someone had suggested I should be putting it to the back to capitalize on the fact that I moved all those cigars out of the way so that all the backs of these drawers are open, right? So now what I'm going to be doing is having the humidity go up the back, hopefully, instead of up the front, where there's actually a much smaller space. And another thing I mentioned is that, like, for example, when I put my hand on this, I barely feel the fan pushing any air. And then, like I mentioned, I was going to show you the back here. This fan that comes with the unit that's pretty much running all the time. Okay, so if you see that, let me take this drawer out, make it easier for you guys. So if you see this setup here, right? When I put my hand in front of this, I feel a little bit, but not a whole lot of wind. So I don't think there's enough. And then when I talked about plugging up this drain hole, this is the little drain hole. And as you can see, there's moisture on my hand. But this is the drain hole people are talking about plugging up. So that's something I'll probably look into as well. So yeah, you can actually see the drip back here, see? So, so that's kind of the deal. So the plan of attack, let me see if I can get these back together easily. Sometimes they're a little challenging. Put this back together, and then I'll go over what I'm going to kind of do here. So put these guys back in. And so talking about the guy that does humidification for a living, where he talked about the air circulations being king in this setup. Like I said, this fan doesn't do much. That fan back there doesn't do much. What I have seen, though, is where you can take a CPU fan, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that Cigar Oasis back into the left corner. And I'm going to take a fan like this and put that in the back right corner. And what I did is I found on Amazon where you can actually order a USB setup that pigtails into this existing CPU fan or case fan plug. That's actually a variable speed switch that can do like low, medium, and high. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little platform so that this sits facing straight up. Okay, so that's going to sort of be my plan of attack on that. And what I'll do is when I do that, I'll shoot a video so that you can see what I'm going to do there, and I'll let you know again how that's going to work. But as of now, that's kind of the things I'm looking at doing: moving that back, adding the CPU fan, plugging up that drain hole, and then kind of seeing how that works. But I would say that the things I've done have made a big difference. Adding the Cigar Oasis has helped, I think. Adding the additional beads has helped, keeping up on those, because I noticed, that's one thing I will tell you I noticed, is that I'm filling up that Cigar Oasis and those trays of beads I have a lot. So I can tell that those cigars are really starving for humidity. So this is something I'm going to have to really tend to, like every 4 days I'm checking to make sure that nothing's drying out and that everything's staying as humid as it needs to be to maintain the humidity in the box. But anyway, just kind of wanted to throw this all out there. Wanted to make sure that you guys were getting all the cool information and great information I'm getting from all the different subscribers that are taking the time to comment. So I guess I would say, in the end, what's been successful so far for me is to clearly reduce the number of cigars I had in there. That was clearly one of the biggest problems. Having an abundance of humidity opportunity in that box, because I can see that with the amount of humidity that's being taken from that Cigar Oasis and my heartfelt beads, very quickly those cigars are really needing a lot of humidity. So you've really got to have a humidity method in there that is able to keep up with the requirement the cigars are drawing into them. So that's a really big factor too. So limit your amount of cigars, keep your airflow open so you can at least get some kind of natural circulation going on in there. I would say add a fan for sure, because I think forced circulation is key to this. And I think the subtlety of the fans that are on the Cigar Oasis in the back of the box, they're just not enough. So I would say that's a big key too. Yeah, that's really it. I think that's kind of what's got me to where I'm at now, where I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with the way things are working. Like I said, but what I am going to still do that I haven't done is I'm going to plug that back hole up, and I'm going to add an additional fan to circulate air more efficiently, and I'm going to move my Cigar Oasis to the back of my unit. And those are kind of the last 3 things I'm going to try. Next step for me would probably be to go ahead and get a secondary unit to mostly to reduce inventory in each one. But I'm going to actually, and this is going to bring up another big topic, but I'm also going to split my infused into one cigar humidor and my regular non-infused into another one. I've gotten a lot of comments as people are watching my humidor videos, I think just by seeing the cigars themselves, just amazed and upset that I have infused cigars and non-infused cigars in the same humidor. And so I've had many lengthy discussions with a lot of subscribers that have made those comments. And again, no one being, rude or offensive. Everyone's just more like, hey, what's the deal with that? So I'm definitely going to look into that. I'm definitely going to put a video out on how to store infused and non-infused cigars properly, and if they can commingle, and that's okay. I will just give you so that I'm not trying to build suspense, I'll just tell you my opinion right now. My opinion now is, for over 20 years of keeping cigars, even down to little 50 count humidors where I used to have 3 of them, I would keep non-infused and infused cigars in the same box and never really had an issue of the flavors bleeding over. So I really don't think that it's that big of a deal. I mean, the way I look at it is partially, if you go into a commercial humidor like at a store or a shop, they're all together. Now, granted, I did get the comment like, yeah, but it's a much bigger space. Yeah, but there's also a shit ton more cigars in there too. So it's almost like apples and apples, because even though it's a smaller space, I have a whole lot less cigars. They're talking about thousands of cigars in a bigger room, where I've got 300 cigars in a smaller room. But they're still all in the same room, and there's some point in that humidor, walk-in humidor, that infused and non-infused are right next to each other, because there's really no separation between them two, between those two. So I would definitely say that I think that if there was that big of a flavor issue amongst cigars that are infused and non-infused, I don't think you would see commercial humidors with those 2 cigars in the same box, same walk-in. That's just my opinion, and I'm just telling you also, just from my experience, I've never had a bleed over problem. I've never smoked a regular non-infused cigar and go, wow, this thing really picked up flavor from something else. And keep in mind, have you ever smelt Spanish cedar? That is so crazy aromatic. You're putting cigars in that environment. So if you were really worried about infusing a non-infused cigar with some kind of an outside influence, you're putting it in Spanish cedar, which smells like wood perfume. So, and that doesn't seem to be an issue. So anyway, I'm going to get into it in a different video, a lot more in depth. I'm going to do a lot of research on it, because I want to be able to put out there a lot more than just my opinion and my experience. I want to, maybe see what the experts say, and go through and really kind of dissect that whole gig. So anyway, that's kind of it for this video. I just wanted to give you an update. I wanted to give you just kind of a quick, I'd say a Q&A, but it was more just an A. I just wanted to throw out a bunch of answers I got from a lot of really cool subscribers that wanted to help out. And again, can't thank you guys enough. Dig the cigar community. I dig the bike community. I dig any community where people can just get together, and things that don't matter just don't matter. You know what I mean? If I'm riding bikes, I'm smoking cigars, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, man. I don't care what walk of life you come from. I judge people. I'll tell you what, let me just tell you this. This is what I taught my kids. I judge people on 2 things. I judge them by how they treat me, and I judge them by how I see them treating other people. And I always tell my kids, because they could treat you a certain way because they want something from you. But if you also watch how people treat other people, that shows you a pretty good window into their character. And I will tell you, having good character or having bad character, it has 0 to do with your race, your religion, your ethnic background, where you came from. Man, when it comes down to it, people are people, and there's either good people or there's crappy people. And I've found in the cigar world and in the bike world, there's a lot of good people. So I hope whatever other hobbies you have, or whatever groups you hang with, I hope you're blessed, as a lot of us are, that you're around a lot of good people that that are always there to lend a hand out and say, hey, yeah, no problem, I got you. So anyway, didn't want to get too preachy, but just, you know, with the times, just wanted to throw that out there, you know, that people are people, and they're either good or they're not. It's pretty simple. No race, no religion, no political persuasion holds a lock on any bad character or good character. You know, that bleeds through everything. So when it comes down to it, it just really comes down to the individual person. You know, you can never take one whole group and say, hey, this whole group is like this, because that's not true. You know, each person is how they are, and that's really what you need to take a look at. And if you're lucky, like I've been, you're around a lot of really good people. And again, thank you guys for being really awesome people and awesome subscribers that I really enjoy interacting with, and I'm really proud to be part of this whole gig. So anyway, I'll go upstairs. I'll show you a little bit of my humidor and a couple things I'm going to do. What I'll probably do is splice it in, so you've, I guess, at this point already seen it. But I'll say my goodbyes now. So if you like my videos, please subscribe. Please make a comment. Give me a thumbs up. That really does help with the YouTube's algorithm and gets my videos out there more. So I really do appreciate that. And again, Eric at SoCal Cigars, and I really look forward to the next video. And till we meet again, enjoy a cigar. Maybe go take a cool ride, hang with some cool people, and just relax. This too shall pass.